As the Lebanon front keeps burning, are cracks now opening between Trump and Netanyahu over just how far this war is allowed to go while a fragile Iran ceasefire hangs in the balance? If Trump wants his Iran deal locked in before talks begin, what happens when Netanyahu keeps striking Lebanon anyway and dares Tehran to walk away? When Trump quietly urges restraint but Israel doubles down on raids across Lebanon, is Washington really in control of its closest allies' battle plan? With 7,451 Israelis already hospitalized from this war, why is Netanyahu still showing no sign of hitting pause, or even spelling out what victory in Lebanon looks like? And if Israel is supposed to be Trump's helpful partner, will Bibi actually help lock down the Gulf ceasefire, or keep testing how far he can push it via Lebanon? Is Netanyahu's hardline Lebanon calculus now clashing head-on with Donald Trump's push to quickly lock in an Iran ceasefire deal before it unravels? As Iran cries ceasefire violation over Lebanon, fresh reporting is laying bare how differently Washington and Tel Aviv see the limits of this deal. On April 8, Trump reportedly asked Netanyahu to scale back his Lebanon strikes, in a direct appeal not to blow up the diplomatic track. That request came during a phone call focused on one thing: protecting the April 11 Iran talks from being derailed by fresh images of burning buildings in Beirut. A US official later said Israel agreed to be a helpful partner, even as its forces kept up what they called necessary operations along the Lebanon front. Publicly, both Washington and Tel Aviv still insist the Lebanon arena sits outside the formal ceasefire with Iran, giving Israel more room to keep hitting Hezbollah. Notably, Netanyahu went on record the same day, vowing to keep striking Lebanon forcefully despite the new diplomatic push. That hardline statement came just hours before word leaked that Trump had privately urged restraint, highlighting the gap between their messages. However, on April 9th, Netanyahu signaled retreat, saying he was ready for peace talks with Lebanon.
I want to tell you there's no ceasefire in Lebanon. We are continuing to strike Hezbollah with force, and we will not stop until we restore your security. Following repeated appeals from the Lebanese government to enter into peace negotiations with us, last night I instructed the cabinet to open direct negotiations with Lebanon in order to achieve two goals. 1. The disarmament of Hezbollah. 2. A historic, sustainable peace agreement between Israel and Lebanon.
Israel has intensified its strikes on Lebanon in recent days, saying it is targeting Hezbollah positions and infrastructure linked to Iranian support. Reports indicate that Israel launched around 100 suspected strikes on Lebanese territory within a 10-minute window on April 8, suggesting a concentrated, high-intensity campaign. These strikes in Lebanon have reportedly killed over 110 civilians and wounded more than 800 others, drawing sharp condemnation from humanitarian groups. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and US Vice President J.D. Vance have both stated that the America-Iran truce does not apply to Lebanon. The situation has highlighted growing disparities between the sides over whether the ceasefire includes the Lebanon front or only applies to Iran directly. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and US Vice President J.D. Vance have both stated that the America-Iran truce does not apply to Lebanon, treating Hezbollah as a separate conflict. In his public remarks, Netanyahu also warned that Israel could resume full-scale war with Iran at any moment in order to complete the original war goals.
We have more goals to complete, and we will achieve them either by an agreement or by renewing the fighting. We are prepared to return to fighting at any moment necessary. Our finger is on the trigger. A temporary 2-week ceasefire between the United States and Iran went into effect tonight, in full coordination with Israel. No, they did not surprise us at the last minute. Now I want to emphasize, this is not the end of the campaign. This is a stop on the way to achieving all our goals. And with regard to the enriched material, uranium, that still remains in Iran, as senior Trump administration officials said, today the enriched material will be exported in its entirety from Iran. Either it comes out with an agreement, or it comes out with renewed fighting. And we see eye to eye on this issue.
Iran, meanwhile, is warning that if Israeli raids on Lebanon continue, the entire ceasefire could collapse before it even properly starts. Officials in Tehran say any genuine truce must include a halt to Lebanon operations, otherwise they see no reason to keep holding their fire. On April 9th, Iranian diplomats claimed they were already prepared to respond militarily to what they see as violations, but decided, for now, to hold back. Iran's deputy foreign minister has suggested it was Pakistani mediation that helped prevent those retaliatory plans from turning into fresh missile launches. Saeed Khatibzadeh is warning that Israeli strikes on Lebanon have already jeopardized the ceasefire and could still bring the deal crashing down. He argues that any regional peace worth the name has to cover Lebanon as well, or else the truce will always be one Israeli raid away from failure. Khatibzadeh has described the coming hours as critical for the agreement's future, hinting that Iran's patience is running out. Even as Netanyahu keeps pounding Lebanon, the casualty numbers back home continue to rise, showing just how much ordinary Israelis are paying for this war. Israel's health ministry says 7,451 people have been hospitalized since the war with Iran and its allies began on February 28. Of those, 118 are still in hospital, 2 in critical condition, 13 listed as serious, 25 moderate, and 74 described as in good condition. The tally covers both soldiers and civilians, including many people injured indirectly while racing to shelters or caught in panic during rocket alerts. These casualty figures paint a picture of a country under deep strain, yet its leadership still signals no clear endgame or timeline for the Lebanon front.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.